Playback nodes online.
Hello. You can hear me. Okay. Weird. I forget this is a new headset. Welcome back. I am Grimmy. Uh, normally, it wouldn't. I'm a little upset with that. Anyway, I'm not gonna think about it. Welcome back. This is me. Fractured on demand stuff. Gotta get some of these games done, man. This stinking buckaroo back behind me, man. You need to leave my screen. This guy. This is the. You know how long this game has been in rotation? Since 2024. It's 2026. This game needs to be done. It needs to be done. Pronto. Now. And forever. I don't have anything topic. I don't have any topics to talk about, unfortunately. Other than hi, hello, how are you? That's it. But I'm a creamy. I got a Metallica shirt on. That's all you're getting. I don't want to do this game. This game can fuck off. I thought about getting water, but I forgot. Okay. Don't have anything to like remotely talk about. Usually I do. Usually I have something. I'm not well at all prepared for this. It is 1:22 in the afternoon here in Central Time of good old Nebraska. Hopefully you knew where I was going with that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel a little awkward today. Hopefully I'm not making you feel uncomfortable, because if that's the case, then what am I doing? What am I doing? I got nothing else to really. I wish I had something. I really wish I had something. I really don't. Go to the game? I don't want to, but we have to. Let's do that. Let's just go over the game and beat the game, and we don't have to look at this game forever. And then call it good. As everyone knows, or if you don't know, we have to fall back on Legacy, which is an old Legacy model. You might recognize, you may not recognize, which is, RetroDivision. It's an app so far, for anyone that doesn't know. So we gotta like fall back on really old stuff. We can't use the new stuff because the on-demand section is still underway, still under construction. So I can't like access anything new. It's telling me I have to beat Jack 3. We already beat Jack 3, so we don't need to worry about that. This is the next one in rotation. This game. And then one Street Ball. Until those games are completed, we can get new stuff. Handy dandy? Handy dandy. We're golden. Okay, let's go over Legacy and do this game.
Hello. Cool. Okay, we're not sounding like a robot anymore. Yeah, that mic was doing something all right. Yeah, I had to unplug the mic and plug it back in. I'll wait till I hear something. Can it? I want to hear if I can hear game audio. Yeah, vaguely, but it's kind of low. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. No, I didn't. Wait, hold on. What did I do? Oh, no. Okay. I was like, oh my god. Scaring myself. I turned up the game audio just a tad. Get your shit straight. No. If I want it to sound like Windows XP, I'll let it sound like Windows XP. No Windows XP, my clank bite. Good sir. I heard from a little bird, and I could be wrong with this. Mr. Bungaboo is going to show up. I could be wrong with that. I sent him a message. I remember sending like a screenshot of this game, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be great. And I don't know if he'll be here, and that's okay. If he doesn't, that's fine. He'll likely show. Maybe not. It's fine. But we got a clank by here. He's cheering me on. They're gonna cheer me on until we flip and finish this damn game. I don't want to do this game anymore. I want to get it done. Game is already a curse to me.
No, I noticed.
Well, thank you for the biddies. Somebody did notice. You son of a bitch. Said cheer. So I cheered. Oh, cheer. Oh, cheer all them. You know what? You're right. They are cheers. And we're also going to spread some tears. Tears? Tears to cheers. Yeah, cheer to the tears. Career. What just happened? I pressed X. What the hell? What's going on? I pressed a button and it went back to demo mode. This game's cursed. I'm still waiting. I want to play the game, please. Thank you. It's took forever. Career hunt. Yes, we're gonna cry. I'm glad I kept my username in the game called Cry, because obviously I always cry in this game. Out of fear of a deer, exactly. It's so true. So fucking true. Completed. Lord, hold on, back up before we do anything. Select gear. Auto equip. Thank you. That's what I want. Yep. Over here. Link Bite's trying to rhyme. Be like the next Eminem. Nah, you're probably better than that. Doing Florida now. Florida Georgia line. country artist. I couldn't tell you one song they sing. I remember listening to them, but I don't remember what they say, or I don't remember one song I could not tell you. I forgot how to play this game. How do I pull out my gun? That's what happens when you don't play Cabelas for so long. You forget what you're doing. Okay, I know how to crouch. Get out of crouch. Why am I'm not doing anything on the controller. He's just slowly backing up. You know what? I would do the same too if I wasn't playing this game. Slowing up. Just backing up. Bro. Okay, R1 is to shoot. Fucking hell. Restart. No, obviously this game is not good. This game is terrible. It's awful. Already starting out strong. How did I crouch that one time? Kind of forgot. Firearm unsighted. Why didn't you sight it then? If you auto-equipped, should be sighted. Sighted. Okay. What the hell, man? Oh my god, why am I can't. What is this fucking control? Oh, L2 is to crouch? Okay, that's horseshit. I don't like that. I'm like, that's why I'm just like, why am I slow? I pressed a button. I'm pressing all these buttons and I don't know what's happening anymore. I can't see anything, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna shoot that red dot. I would say equally both. I am terrible at this game, and this game is also terrible. I will admit. I heard something. What the hell was that noise? Plus, the right analog stick is completely inverted. But everything else is normal. It's for, like, the left analog stick, you can move just fine. The right analog stick is fucked. Anakin, we need the high ground so we can complete the deer. Complete? Complete? Is that the right word you would use? You would complete the deer in the deer game. I can't really tell, man. Nah. Okay, I was like, is that really that close? Yeah, I got no flash player. I can't. It's old framework, man. Controller cam is unavailable. Can't use it. Using an old legacy model here. I heard a bear. I want to see it. Where?
We have to get you out of here.
What just happened? I was trying to find the bear. What does that mean? I was trying to find the bear, man. I did not lie unconscious. You're lying to me. All I hear is I'm like, where? Well, it's not clawing at me right now. Maybe it was like completely behind me and I'm just like oblivious. Does the flash player have to do with the cam though? Lore implications. Because originally there used to be a controller cam there. But now, since there's a flash player, the camera cannot be accessed. It needs a flash player for it to Beyond. Like I said, this is an old framework that I used to stream from. I know, it is bullshit. You can't see a controller camera anymore. But that's how it goes around here. Hey, I see it. Pull out your gun. Firearm unsighted. You know what? That's a good observation. It's a very good observation, game. Thank you for... Can you move the text, please? Kaboom! No, completely missed. Animal killed. That was a good clean shot though. I didn't think I'd get it in the leg, but I got it. Don't make me die. We gotta get you out of here.
It's a good thing we got to you in time.
No! No! You piece of... Why can't I go through water? You absolute piece of trash game. It's me just like sinking down in the water because my character can't swim for shit. Stupid. Oh, golly. I'm such a lucky guy for playing this game. No, it's it's not even a PC, man. It's part of the RetroDivision lore. It's a fictional operating system, man. Oh, please to God, you text, you gotta like leave. Yeah, put your gun away. Oh my God, we're gonna see text again. Much less unconscious. You know what? You're right. They wouldn't know where we are. I keep putting it away. I'm trying to. Go in between the legs. Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted. Because my firearm is not sighted, of course. Because if it was, I would know. So we can't go around like a dumbass. Yeah. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I keep just doing that. I can't tell though. I think it's there, but I don't think so. Oh, I see its head. It's peeking over. Put sight on gun? Nah. This is how you truly do the deer game. You shoot for good luck. See? You shoot for good luck. You shoot for good luck. You shoot for good luck. Have I ever told anyone that I love this game? Oh, fine. We'll drive the vehicle. I don't want to. But we will. Oh. So that's how we're doing controls. Okay. Stop driving. Yeah, we only made progress from point A to point B. Hey, look. text. Go away, please. Can't see for God's shit. Are you fucking kidding me? I love the surroundings, though. Yeah, I guess so. I don't really pay too much attention to the environment. Like, it's fine. I don't think it's the best thing in the world. Like, take this in, for example. This is alright. Like, it's not bad for scenery. See the water going down. See the forest in the background. Like, that's not bad. A little pond there. Or no, it's not even... I say pond. It's a creek. Good lord. Get my terminology here correctly. Oh, PS2 landscapes do it for you. Gotcha. Gotcha. I misinterpreted. When in doubt, chase a deer. Works every time for me. I don't know about everyone else, though. Oh, I love it when it is. We're gonna keep chasing. No, I know. I know because we're just on PS2 at the moment, but I'm sure it's a bit different compared to other platforms, or at least how they are developed anyway. You know, or whatever the scenery might be that was designed. And the mountains and the deer's rain. By and by, Lord, by and by. Deer and buck say bash. There you are, you stupid bill. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is this? Okay, that was not intention. That was not by intention. I swear. I didn't see the tree there. Okay, let's not do that again. Celesta. Hello. I know you told me to call you Puff, but I keep calling you Celesta. Hi. Hello. How are you? I hope you're well. That is a fucking bear. Yeah, run away. Stupid bear. Yeah, go claim my trophy.
This trophy goes on the high scores list.
Good. Finally, I actually got to see a deer. I mean a bear. I meant a bear. Not a deer. You've seen deers in this entire game. We've actually find something else. Other than a bear. I mean deer. Damn it. Ooh. How is Puff? How is the Puff? Puffness. God, I move so slow. Asterisk, 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 says Clank. Sent the clip. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up with my chat. Like, that's always has happened with any link that goes through. It just does not register. For some reason, just links don't like to work. I don't know why. I could not tell you. And I don't have any bots anymore in my thing. Like, I don't have any automated bots that... So I don't understand why. It should die. Die. Why is it not dead? Die. Oh, there it goes. I go claim.
This record makes the high scores list.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how I feel now. Nor does killing. It does not. Nope. It makes it a chore. That's why I was like chase the deer down and get over it, get the stage over with. Might as well reload. I should go higher up. Of course I could just turn around that corner, which I think it would be there. Well, let's do that. I don't care. And also, hey, there he is. I was talking about you way earlier. It's the Mr. Boo. The goddamn Bungaboo. And Bungaboo's gonna be like, you're goddamn right. On the new old office. What's... What? I don't know. You guys are bickering. I don't know. I won't get into it. If I see a deer, I see a red dot. It's gonna be mine. That red dot's gonna be mine. I want it, Jenny. Gotta have it, Jenny. I can't see it, Jenny. All this brush is like in the way. Jenny, it's in the bush. Or it's behind the tree. Oh, yeah, sure. As if I knew where the... It's still not.
You don't have a tag for that animal. I must give you a warning.
You will not give me a warning. No, remove the warning. If it's... I don't like you, narrator. Flash a riot. Riot. Do a riot. I don't care. You can't. I gotta finish this game, dude. I'm calling that a... Get the game warden. Do it. You won't. Oh, I appreciate the streak, Puff. We gotta go around and get that last red marker, because obviously the other deer was not a tag, okay? And said, I'm gonna have to give you a warning. If you do that again, I'm gonna have to give you a double warning. But if you give a mouse a cookie, he doesn't get a goddamn warning. So what's all that about, Bill? The hell? I don't know what the hell that was, but okay. Someone redeemed their trend. Oh, you threw your points away. I was gonna say, like, what the hell was that? I know. I saw that. I heard and saw it, and I was like, the heck was that? I think it's coming closer to me. Is this a sign that it's my deer? Is it my time? Another one. Voice? Voice what? Disney? Disney. Oh boy. We're here to play some deer. Uh-huh. We're gonna beat the deer. We're gonna buck some deer. There you go. There is your voice. Or do some moderate goofy. Oh boy! No, that's not goofy. So it's around the mountain, or is it inside the mountain? The deer is actually inside the mountain. We have to kill the mountain. How do you? Okay, now I'm in a conundrum. How do you exactly kill a mountain when you just need to, like, terraform it? Isn't that how you would kill a mountain? Wait a minute. Requested queued games. Oh, we have Def Jam Fight for New York. We have, what else? We got Very Odd Parents by Scarce, Heart of Darkness, Medium. What else? Okami, Katamari Damacy. Those are all the so far from memory that is requested. Nah! Ha! Pachipa! That's the deer. Okay, that deer does not have a tag. I know it, because that is the deer that we're looking for. I'm down to one bullet. Let's reload real quick. I got the deer where I wanted him. Mr. Elmer Fudd. You come back, you silly goose. Shh, I'm hunting deer. Nah. Especially after this game. Yeah, we gotta get this game done, man. It's been 20. This game was drawn 2 years ago. It needs to be done. It gotta get out of here. We can't keep doing this game. After how many parts? I could not tell you. How close do you think I am to it? I'll get a little closer, a little higher up. I still can't identify it because, you know, trees are in the way. Yeah, Bunga been doing a lot of moving, Mr. Clank. I'm sorry, Mr. Bite. Your first name's Clank. I should be calling you Mr. Bite, not Mr. Clank. It's a bad idea. Don't encourage it. I can't tell. It's a tree. Like, if a deer was a tree, you wouldn't give it a cookie, would you? You would give it honey, right? Or salt. Maybe you'll give it the sun so it can live and give it life. And give it water. I think water would be the best consumption for a tree. Because what? It would be planted initially by squirrels, because, you know, squirrels hoard their nuts, but the nut becomes a maple nut, and that maple nut becomes a tree. Not necessarily in that order. So never. When was the last time I saw Clank stream? Never. No, I'm giving a shit. I remember seeing like a video. Oh yeah, bears are also in here. Bear, you better not go after that deer. I need that deer, Mr. Bear. No. Man, that bear is going fast. Holy shit, that beer. Beer. I said bear. Why messing up? Why am I messing up on the word bear? I called it a beer. What? It's not a beer. I'm not sure. I know you're asking. Speed old bear. Speed. I see it. Fuck! What happened, voice? Gosh, I can't believe I missed the damn deer. Good lord, my voice. Couldn't do anything. It just wants to run away from me. Yeah. Oh, you want Herbert? Herbert the Herbert. Bro, I can't fucking talk at all. I called it a Herbert. Herbert. Damn it. Herbert the pervert. I'm gonna go after them there. Chris. You want a popsicle? I think the bear's up here too. Gotta be careful. It's a little rough. A little rough on that. Chris? Whistle your asses, Chris. It's a little hard. A little hard to do that. No, I know a friend that can do it pretty damn good. Yes! Oh my god, I couldn't tell, but I fucking got it, bruh.
Your score has been added to the high scores list. A new mission is waiting for you.
Oh, thank God.
Congratulations, you have completed this season.
Thank you. Oh my god, I just realized there is a number tag. I don't remember adding that. No, I don't know why there is. I looked over, I looked at it, I'm like, there's no Bungaboo tag. And I had to look over, check that. There is. Why? I don't remember adding it. I don't know why that is. Hell with finding a job. I'm saving. I have to save this shit. 10:30, bro. Oh my god. Overwrite. Yes. I have the point to prove about PS2 and streaming. You don't need to. If you want to, you can. You have choices, Mr. Bill. You don't have to. A Magnum? Are we... Hold the phone. Are we about to kill a deer with a pistol? Or a Magnum? In winter? Why? Hold up. That can't be right. I feel stupid. What? Why? I need to be sure it can be defeated. Listen, if the one thing I will take away from this game is if you get all the regions done, you're fine. You don't need to go after all the missions. It's like Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. As long as you get a 5-star park and you don't have to go through every single mission, you're fine. NFL. I know, we would be stuck in Cabela hell. Oh my god, we're about to shoot a... What are we going to kill? With a fucking pistol? It can't be a deer. It just can't be a deer. I feel like that's just brutal to a deer. Like, I'm gonna shoot a deer with a damn pistol. I'm gonna shoot it from this far. Good luck. It's stupid hard and long. I know what else is stupid hard and long, but I don't think I should finish that sentence. I'm sorry. You got a little immature brain here. I didn't want to say anything. You said it, not me. Another bear. Look at that bear. That bear. I called it a beer. You know what? I'm not doing this anymore. That bear can F off. I can't delete my own message. Oh my gosh. You're gonna bring up that golf game? I just thought of it. Yeah, I don't want to think about it. I'm playing this. Cabela steers, no golfing. My power's off, then. The fuck is this thing I gotta shoot? There's a bear? There's two bears! Why is there... Bruh, there's two bears up there! And it's interacting with whatever it is. Are they about to get it on? I hope not. This is... Turn your eyes away, people. This is mating season, apparently. I'm scared to even go up. There's two bears right there. They could attack me. And then the warden's going to be like, we had to rescue you. We had to place a warning on you because you got too close to the bear. That's an official warning. I have no idea. I was kidding. You're not gonna run away from me. I mean, it can, but it's not gonna go anywhere. I don't even know if I got it. And the click spray. All this time for fun. I hope not. Mostly you give me shit. Well, would you wait? I didn't. Why? Uh-oh. I'm all alone up here. I think we're alone now. Nothing but bears and deers all around. I think we're alone now. Charlie, we're broken again. Just now, I officially declared that I am now a streamer. That's what Bunga is saying. You know what? Why? Like, why give me a pistol, bro? Like, I feel like this is just kind of damaging to my brain in this game. Like, first it was a rifle and a deer. Like, I understood that. My insanity peaked. It's fine. But a but a magnum. Come on. Like, you're testing my patience. Are both deer on the... What is this, a bridge? What is that? I can't even tell from afar. Second thought I quit. Yeah, it's part of the mission. Part of the mission for this region that we gotta... I was gonna say fight a deer, but more like hunt a deer to kill it with a magnum. Because deer logic. I don't even know if I have a foot. No. We don't have a foot. We're just gonna walk away. Put my gun away. Exactly. That's what I wanted to do. No feet. Nope. Unfortunately not. No feet. I'm sorry, Mr. Boo. Sorry to disappoint. Just shooting at this rate. Can this deer die already? It's still trying to, like, get away from me. Normally it would just pass out, die, do its thing. Oh, yeah, it's still prolonging the inevitable. You're not gonna get away from me. Okay.
This record makes the high scores list.
Would like to admit. I spent a lot of time watching Bunga playing Grandia and mostly a lot of sports, because there was Winter Sports, Eagle Eye Golf, and Grandia. God of War 2 as well. We'll reload. It's fine. Yeah, we did, but we did watch it play itself. I'm looking at tree lines. I like trees. Anyone else like trees in this game? I think trees are the most peaceful thing about this game. Other than you as the hunter having to kill. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe that is what needs to be, or what needs to happen in order to emotionally and financially derive yourself of this game. Because if you're not more than a deer, then what are you? What are you ought to be? And what does it deserve from you? My love? My dignity? What do you want from me, game? Obviously a beer. Or a deer. It's not even that fucking oh my god. I'm out of bolts. This feels like Russian roulette, but with deers. It is very rough with this pistol. I'm sorry, the revolver. You know what? It's funny because I actually ran over a deer with a vehicle, and the game decided to give me a full-blown warning about it. I don't want you to kill another deer with a vehicle ever again. It's like, what the hell? It was quite spontaneous. Fucking just can't tell. Now it's in the shade. Like, I really can't tell. Yeah. Federal lawsuit. The game doesn't really charge you for anything except I don't think I've ever seen any penalties. I mean, it's gave me penalties, warnings, but nothing like revoking licenses or anything. Like, there's no like removing whatever that you did was wrong, bad, except for just don't do that again, or this is your final warning. You only get so many warnings, but I never know. I don't know what would happen if you used up all those warnings. Like, I would assume it would revoke your license to hunt in the region. I wonder if that would be an immediate soft lock because you paid for it. Now you can't go back to the region because of said warnings that you were explicitly told not to do. Sad ending unlocked. You know what? That'd be funny if there was, though. That'd be just like, yeah, sorry, man. Your license got revoked. You can't hunt in Nebraska anymore. Donald Trump said so. Get in your car and dazzle him down. If it only was that easy, man. Fucking bear.
That is not a legal game animal in this season. Do not do that again.
Then why mark it as a target? I'll go after this one then. I have no ammo. Just realized. What the? Oh my god. we marked this deer as a target, but yet once you start shooting it, we're actually gonna give you a warning because you were told now that you can't kill this animal. I was told by Bungaboo to not do it again. No, this is the only account I have on Twitch. Where's it going now? I'm sick and tired of going around like this. The goal of the level is to kill deer. With a magnum. One second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I heard something. Get away. Look what you did. I just come back and the deer runs away. Deer was a zombie. I think it's in the bush. This is really stupid. I just want this to end. But he keeps going around, he keeps toying with me. How old is me? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to ask my doctor. You miss. You fucking stupid. Yes. We have to whisper. In case if the deers find us, then we're in big trouble. You don't understand how hard it is to, anything in this game. Scan lines. What do you mean? I think I see it. I'm not scared. Scan lightning. Where'd it go? In game. Want to swap controllers? I'm sick and tired of doing this mission. Damn it, breathe. There's no wind. What do you mean? This thing in the top right-hand corner, that is not the wind. That is a check mark. That's just, this is the wind. almighty. This deer is giving me two. I know. I mean left. Now it's turning right. Now it's turning left. Now it's turning right. Fuck. Can't climb up. I can't go around. Are you kidding me? Oh, okay. God damn it. This shit's stupid. No. We're fine. Okay. Oh, gosh dang it. I don't like this deer. Deer can kiss my ass. I can't tell. Are you in a bush? No, you're not in a bush. I just been staring at a bush this whole time. Cool. 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 I know. And that's sad. I think so. Ah!
You
Yes.
have permission to shoot that animal. This
What?
is your final warning.
I want to walk away. I want to walk away. This is stupid. This game's stupid, man. What the fuck? See, that's what I'm saying. Your final warning.
You don't have a tag.
I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear your voice. I don't give a fuck, Warden. I don't give a flying fuck. Stop marking the animals that I'm going for that I can't. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your voice. Alright, Mr. Man. No. I am not Mr. Man. I'm a hunter. That's what I am. shoot the truck? I don't get a warning for that, fucking Mr. Warden. I don't want you to shoot that truck again. That's a final warning. That's actually a good question. Will it? On. I shot the tire. Now let's drive. Is there repercussions to that tire? Doesn't look like it.
I hope you shoot better than you drive.
That was pretty awesome. That car did a fucking flip. I love that. That was awesome. I want to do that again. A little bit. I'm gonna do a flip on the mountain. Whee! Oh shit, the camera. The fuck happened to the camera? That was weird, bro. Hope you shoot better than you drive. That's obviously a lie. I'm a terrible shooter. But I'm a better driver. I'll say that for sure. That was good. I like that. A good change of pace. Got a good laugh. Nope, wrong animal. Let me guess. Wrong animal. Because obviously it's tagged wrong. Sure.
This trophy goes on the high scores list.
I love how the deer, I think what happened was the deer despawned and then turned into the trophy that I needed. I think that was the deer that I needed with the antlers, right? Because if I'm looking for a deer that has the antlers, that's what I need. Because I think the whole time, the other time we were doing it, we were killing female does. We need male. We couldn't find that clip. I just see the message when he posted the link. We couldn't find that clip. This is a final warning. Even the warden is in the Twitch chat. He's like, this is a final warning. Can't add another Twitch clip and we're gonna have to remove you.
That is not legal game.
You're not legal game. I will do it again for all I care.
That is not legal game. Do not do it again.
Maybe I'll sound like Megatron for you. Excuse me. Excuse you. Holy shit! That bear almost fucking mauled me, man. Area 3. I guess so. Whoa. Aw, Kitty brought a lizard. He brought an offering. You just got a lizard. I wonder who it's from. A big one. Oh. That's the one. Mr. Bungaboo got a lizard. I wonder who it's from. Look at these trees. Look at these delicate little trees. Look, it's a rock. Oh my god. It's so swamp-like. I don't think this is Florida. I really don't think this is Florida. They say it's Florida, but I don't think this is Florida. Like, this feels unnatural. Horrible, man. I don't think this is a even bridge. It looks like bacon. Like why why does this literally looks like bacon? It cooks bacon on water. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like that would be more what like northeast of the United States. And go to the Badlands. I say Badlands. I was thinking oh, what the hell? I can't think out of the top of my head right now. It's the Mount Rushmore. Like, my brain's thinking Rhode Island, but I don't think it's right. The Black Hills. That's what I'm thinking. Deer bacon. Ew. On water? Gross. Oh, I'm going left. Well, how far? I don't see. Oh, it doesn't look that far. I really can't tell. Okay, so it might be up the hill. Animal flesh? I don't know about all that jargon. I'd call it a day. Guys, you're making me hungry. Stop.
That
Oh,
is not
fuck.
a legal game animal. That's your second offense.
Oh, fuck you. That is your second offense. All because I couldn't tell. Like, I didn't know it was gonna be a female doe, bro. Like, calm the hell down. I need to get my oxygen back in inside me. I consume oxygen. It was in the trees. It was in the rubble. How can I see anything in this game? What the hell is this? That's an odd place for a log. No! Don't make me slip down and then the warden's gonna be like, we had to rescue you. From what? A fall? Someone get me life alert. Or deer balls. Yeah, no, not too lifelike. What the? Since when are red orbs in the mountains? Very inconspicuous. Help, I'm Cabela and I can't get up. Exactly. That is how we do the Scooby-Doo. Oh my god, just breathe, old man, breathe. I'm losing oxygen. What's a Cabela anyway? The Cabela didn't bother me anyway. It's a deer game. It's a brand. It's a deer hunting sports brand here in America. I'm playing as the old man. That's all I know. That orb is flying. Looks like a female. But I can't be for certain. That'd be funny if it would be like one of those like survival games for Cabela's. It'd be like, you got glaucoma. Come back now. You're infected. We had to rescue you. You got larvae inside you. We had to rescue you. Bugs are eating your skin. We had to rescue you. You were being eaten by a mountain lion. We had to rescue you. Hey, look, a bear. Look at him go. Yeah, I see it. I see the wind. I see the wind icon. Or at least the marker anyway. Actually use that. You did see that bark fly. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this done and over with. What's happening? The artifacts. Oh! 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 Oh, it's making weird artifacts! I'm getting woozy. Yeah, the methane got me spinning. Spinning real hard. I don't like this. Why did I choose this game? Yes, it was rough. I think it was terrible. I think it was awful. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna sleep. He died. Yeah, I died. This is my corpse. Like, how do you, like... Difficulty is easy. That's funny. That is hilarious. Oh, golly. What's the point of this? Like, I understand if you're like to speed up time, but like you just don't. I woke up. I'm still woozy. I'm drunk, but I have a firearm and I'm about to shoot some deer. You know how odd that sounds? How'd you die? I slept. I died by a mosquito. Especially in these Florida times. Holy shit, man. Why are you in the mountains, bro? I don't want to do that anymore. This game's scary. Lack of deer meat. Yeah. No, there isn't much deer meat to go around. I smoked, I drank, I'm supposed to stop, but I can't. Those are the words and the whys of one cremathai delinquent. My oxygen supply is dwindling. I have to wait occasionally for it to build back up again so I can move. Is there any other red dots I can... Jesus Christ, the motion is fucking awful. I really do feel like I'm high. Like, just the sensitivity when you move left and right, up and down, just like, ugh. So disorienting. Now, don't slide down where the warden's gonna be like, no! Ugh. It really does make you think that maybe I am drunk. There's a bear. I want the bear. What if I shot the bear? I'm gonna shoot the bear. I really want to shoot the bear. See what happens. You think he'd come after me? You think he'll kill me like the wolf did? I'm going up to it. Well, it was here. I swear I'm not hallucinating. Another bear. See another bear. So many bears. Maybe. I don't know if it'll do any good for me though. Especially in a deer game. Nope. I cannot go after that. That would be an endgame. Oh, another one too? I have to get out of this area. Fuck. Okay. I just have to leave this area. Because there's no deer that looks like the ones... See, like, if I shot him, it would be no bueno. It wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, fuck this area. Fuck this area, man. No track within 3 feet. No animals have ever been discovered in your area. Why did... Hold on, my brain went to somewhere else. Are you looking for local bucks in your area? Look out for the sexy lingerie deers. Call toll 1-800-669-525 and get your sexy deer now. Call 1-800 me. And have a good time. Jesus Christ, my can't move as much anymore. My condition is wearing. The old man's dying. And the old man, he is dying. Why did I tell you to put your gun away? I'm gonna tell you to do that. I can't. Like, anywhere, anytime I moved, I couldn't. Like, I was just so out of breath. Call your extension now to get a sexy deer on the line. And that sexy deer will do things to you you won't even know. And the deer on the other line's like, what does a deer make? What does a deer sound like? I was gonna do like some sort of impression of a deer trying to like talk back, and and I had the realization like, what does a deer sound like? Moo. Maybe that's what it sounds like. Right, I don't know. And the deer circle, deer, please, I love you. I want that deer. It's a deer. I want the meat. I want the deer meat. But I know I can't have it. Because that, from afar away, is actually a female deer. So I can't choose the left side deer. I can't. I want that deer. But it's not what I'm looking for. Wait, no, it has antlers. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Aw, you sick bitch. I almost had it by the fucking Maybe. I would not know, but it would be interesting. The old man is out of breath, please doesn't want to hunt deer at all. He's a deer. Everyone's a deer. Even you. Even your mom. Even your cousin. Even your sister. Even your brother. How would that make you feel if you knew that you're in... Get the fuck out of the way, you stupid palm tree. If you knew your whole entire family was just deer. They are the deer. And you have to pay respects to that. I can't tell if that's a bush. It's probably a bush. Still eat them? Okay, hold on. Clank said something. Wait a sec. Hot bucks in your swamp? Call 1-800-BUCK-ME. $1.99 minimum. Mobile may be more expensive. Terms and conditions apply. There we go. Not as good as the quesadilla. Oh dear. Not the quesadilla again. I see a... Oh. Fuck, I can't... Hold on. Is that... I think that's where it is. Oh, God, I'm leaning in. It's on the opposite side. Uh. All the bears are everywhere. Gonna kill that fucking deer. Yeah, this sucks. Yeah, how do you think I feel right now? Like I'm trying, I really am, and this shit's stupid, man. I'm very impatient a little bit. I want this done, but I can't. The game sucks, my wiener. Okay, I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. That's messed up. It sucks something. How do you think Bunga felt doing Eagle-Eye Golf? I had to watch that. I didn't have to. But I like Bungaboo because he's a cool guy. He plays PS2. Yes! Oh my god! Finally. I mean, it wounded, but it didn't kill it.
That is not legal game. This
Don't
is
kill me!
warning. That looks really painful.
Fucking bear! Fuck you, bear! Fuck you! This fucking piece of fucking bear! Fucking bear! Why the bear? Why? Why was the bear there? Why couldn't the bear fuck else anywhere besides there? What the hell? Sam I am? You don't understand how difficult, pixel by pixel perfect you need to be for this game, Clank. It is so hard to see what I'm doing. It is very difficult to see anything in this game. I'm constantly looking in to see how far or how close I am to them, and it is difficult to observe anything with that matter. Especially with a revolver. Like, I understand with a rifle you have a scope. You can use the scope, you can use the rifle, you can end up having to see where they are. This, unfortunately, does not have a scope. It's a magnum, and you have to go free for all on the deer, make sure where they are, you kill them, you get the reward, you leave. It is... I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just telling you how it is. And it's very... Why do you think I don't want to do this game? This game is brutal to me, man. It really is. It really is brutal. Can't blame me with the bear, man. The bear was there. He ate my my bacon liver. See, that's bacon. It literally looks like bacon. I'm telling you. Bacon. Bay. Fucking bears. I don't like this game. Rather, I'd be happy to do and one right now. Hold on, what? Oh, it's so difficult to know. No. Bro, for real. I'm being for real too. Pharrell. His name was Pharrell Williams. 'Cause I'm bitchy, come along if you feel that you got a deer inside your ass. 'Cause I'm happy. Nah. Nah. No binocs. I feel stupid. That's just calling and nothing's happening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bunga. I'm literally trying to find Hey, look, we found the rangefinder. What is this? What is this? Like, says that though. Oh my fuck! Are you kidding me? Back out! Back out! Back the hell out! We're probably hitting at like 80-some%. I'm gonna bust up a minute. I'm trying to find the scope for the fucking Magnum. It's part of my language, but like this is getting ridiculous. Okay, what are we doing here? Pistol. Wind resistant bullet severely limits its range. Yeah, but how do you... It's a handgun. It is, but it has a scope. You can have a scope on it, right? Okay, what if we controller go to unequip, back, firearms, inventory. Start. Spawn. Okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I hope it's attached. Because I looked at it, because it looks like they're from the difference between firearms having the scopes and the accessories. Accessories has like here, I'll actually go back to the manual again. Because the accessories or the equipment has binoculars, spotting scope, and rangefinder, versus where accessories and firearms should be different on terms of the scope. Firearm unsighted. What the hell?
You shot too close to that building.
I don't know what that... There was no building in sight, you're lying. Shoot something in Florida. I just did what you already did. Or what I already did. Already shot. And then I got a warning. You know what? Just for sakes and giggles and shits.
You may not discharge your firearm within 50 yards of a building. This is a warning.
I will keep getting the warnings. I don't care. Just to piss him off. I had to do that just to piss him off. Weird. It didn't sight the fucking firearm. Do something in fire without getting a warning. Sounds like an achievement. That's so weird. Like, what type of scope does it take for the Magnum? You would think there would be, right? No? Yes, no? Just no? It gives you all the deer. And the next page is typical versus non-typical. Yeah, fuck you, Cabela's. Unequip that. Is the static scope with the No, I think I need the field scope, right? Let's go with that. Alright. I'm sorry, Bunga. I really am. I'm trying. I really am. I feel bad I haven't completed this game. This game will be done. I promise you. The loading is... Oh dear. Still unsighted. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. That I would like to know whether if it would decrease this game's load times, even though it doesn't on your end, because you even tried. I remember you told me. I did this again. Hold on. I'm going to do something that will help me in the long run for this one. I keep restarting and quitting, restarting, quitting. I apologize, but like I'm still like trying to think of what to do here, rather than just going guns blazing in, chasing them, because that's normally the routine I've done for this game. Yeah, I know. No one need to tell me. Okay, let's try that. You won't even finish displaying before it loads. I know. I'm always constantly putting the PS2 controller on my leg to rest, but it keeps falling off. I'm like, damn it, just sit still. Oh, stretching a little bit. I don't even know how long we've been going for. 2 hours and we haven't even gotten any progress in. God damn this game. Except for one thing. Florida of summer. Now we're still in winter and we still gotta figure this out. I'm a little upset with that. Why is there more when I first came back in? What the hell? Okay. This will help me identify what I'm chasing. I don't need to chase after that. I need bucks. I don't need does. It's a flying buck. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a buck right now. I will get the bucks the best that I can and my best bucking ability. He's... Gotta be careful when you slide down. You slid down too much. You have a concussion. We had to bring you back to the warden. And the warden just ratted you out. You're dead. You're not allowed to go back to the park to hunt. Fucking text move. cool. I'm not hunting a fox. The wooden post is in the way. It saw me. See, it was so hard to tell. Like, if I would have shot, I would have hit the fence. This game is all about patience. I'm sorry if I don't have much to talk about, really. Just a lot of, like, waiting and a lot of just... I was wondering what I tripped on. It was an animal. Damn! Yeah, let's go! That was a good shot! Okay. Alright.
Whopper. That goes on the high scores list.
Okay.
There is now a new mission available.
We
Congratulations.
did it!
You have completed the hunt.
Yes! 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 Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! Finally! Yes! Oh, that is what I'm looking for. I'm happy. Okay. We can breathe. Bing, 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 bing. Uh-oh, we got Bungaboo's favorite area, Arizona. Isn't that fun? Oh my god, it's the last fucking region. Good. We're on the last region, boys. Oh shit, I forgot to do my auto equip. Usually it helps me. I don't think I'm supposed to shoot with this gun. Because I still have the Magnum on it. I gotta go back. The sloading. Sloading. What is the sloading? Come back, no. Oh my god, I love you. But you're wrong area. Oh man. Oh, imagine if I actually got that shot the first try. I load in and kill the thing. And it's like, you actually completed the mission. You completed the game. Now please review and rate our lovely game on the App Store. I'm like, what? Why is it on the App Store? Why? Why? Cool. I think everyone left me. That's okay. I would leave myself too if I was watching this. At least I'm not suffering alone. You're here to suffer with me. I'm kidding. I'm just messing. Oh yes, look at me go. Oh, I got X-ray back. Yeah, baby. Let's... Finally, the last region that I can use X-ray with. Whoa. Like, what? Did they just... Hold up. Wait a minute. Did they take stock footage? Because look at this. It is just clear as day a JPEG. This... Oh my god. It's a JPEG. Oh, look at that, guys. It's a JPEG. JPEG of Arizona. Now, that is something you don't see every day. That is something rare in the making. Like, wow. The details. Love how it's just mist. Like, it looks like clouds, but it kind of doesn't. Oh. I will go claim my trophy.
This trophy goes on the high scores list.
Hell yeah, my guy. Give me X-ray. I'm gonna go after these wildebeests. Of course, they're not wildebeests, but you get the idea. Right? Dad? Bungaboo? Anyone? Mr. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Mr. Deerman, bring me a deer. You are the cutest that I've ever seen. Bring me 2 hooves and a bottle of beer. Until the night is clearer, Mr. Deerman. Bring me a dream. You are the cutest that I've ever seen. Mr. Deerman, bring me a deer. Mr. Deerman, bring me a deer. He said, Mr. Deerman, bring me a deer. Mr. Deerman. Oh, fuck. Hopefully it doesn't disappear. Oh, fuck. No, okay, good.
Your score has been added to the high scores list.
And nothing? Wow, okay. Mr. Deerman. Mr. Deer Meat, bring me meat. Hello? I'm hearing shit. I heard a snake. Snake! Snake! I can do that too. You missed me singing a lot. We're on the last region now. And we finally have a rifle with an X-ray. So I'm happy. Yeah, put away the weapon. That's what I want you to do. Hey, you said a cookie run. What kind of cookies? Cookie run. I gotta know. Mr. I'm gonna call you I'm gonna start calling you Cookie Bunga. Keep that crap up. If the cookie crumbles, right? The cookie crumbles, and the cookie, and the cookie, and the cookie, and the cookie. We're gonna be inside the cookie. Better bet your crumbaloni. I hope so. I know I use that a lot on you. I'm sorry. Oh my god. You're playing Ring Around the Rosie with this fucking deer.
You don't have permission to shoot that animal. Do
But I
not do
did.
that again.
Okay, where do you want me to go?
You don't have permission to shoot that animal, okay? I'm gonna have to ask you to not shoot the deer, okay?
Where am I going? Like, I need to get out of this area. Because there's no more deer anymore. There's no more deer. I can't. I need the meat. Where do I get the meat? Bunga, where do I get meat? Your favorite region? Arizona. Ain't that nice? Aren't you just having fun? Hairy, scary Arizona. No, but nope, no bears, actually. Only in Florida. Which was weird. Like, are there bears in Florida? Like, that's making me curious now. I have no idea. Where am I going? Is this a fucking dead end? Yes, it is a dead end. Okay, so I need to get out of it and turn left. Okay, so I'm coming into a divide here. I need to go left to go into the next area. Or actually, I'll put that way. I love how the text stays, like, for so long until it then goes away. I think that's one of the tedious things Really don't like it. It's like it takes forever for it. Whatever action you're doing, and then the text stays there for a good remainder until something happens. Also, a JPEG of the environment. Look at that. It's the JPEG of Arizona. I think I like it. Area 2. Yes, pass. Since there's no more deer, I killed all the deer here. We need to go into another area. So once we're done in summer, we can do winter of Arizona, and then we're done. Done. And then we'll try some missions, and then that's game. And we'll be finished. We'll be finished with the game. Once we're done with all the regions, that is credits. And then we'll try some missions. If we can't get through it, that's fine. That's how I view it. That is the goal. Complete all of the regions. Holy shit. What the hell? What was that? Someone screamed. What the hell was that? I didn't do anything. All I heard was a ah! But it was so distant, like someone probably got mauled. Most likely. Hello there. I'm going to hunt all the deer all around. Oh, brother, do they have any honey? I hear the wolves, Christopher. They call out to me. No, I can't shoot that. You think I can get it from this far? It was gonna be the wrong deer too. But no. Wrong one. A bit choppy. The game is a bit choppy. Like, I notice sometimes when I enter a new area, like for this one, like it seems to lag a bit. How would I would have known it was right there? I couldn't tell though. Fuck. Oh, did both of them? I guess they both took off that way. I thought it was just the one. I know, it was right over the antler. I was just like, no. Oh my god, the game is getting choppy right now. Why? Oh, one animal died? It died somewhere over here. Something died. I know. Because I saw the blue marker. I'm not tripping. I know I'm not. Back to the roundabout again. Just like, fuck. I just need to be able to see it. What happened? What the fuck happened? Like, it made a noise. Did I not get it? Wonder if it went over the hill. Yeah, I had to.
You don't have a tag for that animal. That's your second offense.
What the fuck? Don't mark it! Nope, not what I'm looking for. I wish it would tell me what deer I'm hunting. Like, even if you press start. It tells you in the beginning before you start it, but I was just wondering what deer I'm hunting. So I know what I'm looking for. In the manual, it could tell me of what the deer is that I'm trying to hunt for. I just don't want to restart. I don't think it's those I'm looking for. It's just a dead end here. I don't know what was this way anyway. Seems like if I take the creek all the way down, then maybe I might pass another area.
It's their second offense. If you kill another deer just like it, you're gonna die. Man, you keep being really flamboyant for deers.
It's it in the bush? It has to be in the bush. The deer is a fucking bush. You've done it. I've done it. Done what? I've done nothing. Go claim your trophy. Okay. Alright, yeah, that's what I'm looking for, I guess. Fuck me. Fuck, I don't fucking know. Fuck this game.
This trophy goes on the high scores list. You were chosen for a new mission. Congratulations.
Fucking
have
fuck
completed
you,
this
you
season.
fucking game. It's just like, I won it, but I'm like, fuck you, you stupid. Oh, man. Season done. Well, technically not really. But yeah, we're halfway done. Halfway, Bunga. Half. Half. I forgot the other half, man. If I don't overwrite, I will cry. Okay, cool. Hey. All right, Montana. So Montana and winter, done. New Mexico, fall, done. Colorado, summer, done. Oregon, winter and fall, done. British Columbia, fall and winter, done. Texas, winter and fall, done. Nebraska, fall and winter, done. Florida, winter, summer, done. Arizona, summer. Now we get to do fall. Alright, choose a number. From 1 to 3, Bunga. 1, 2, 3. What do you want? I'll do it. Just for you! Because this will be the game over done with. 2. Got it. Middle me. I got you. We're gonna do that guy. Then we're gonna start. We're gonna 900. We have enough money. We can do it. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Last mission. Last region. Last region, man. He's so queer. I have to take you up on that one. After this, I might need some queer cake to acquire that taste. If that makes sense. I don't know. Oh, golly, a shotgun just for me. Are you kidding me? A shotgun? The last shit you're doing is with a shotgun. Oh, golly, I'm a happy dude. I'm a happy crimmy. I look up because it's funny the comparison between what is day and what is night. The image, it's like they just turned down the brightness. Okay. What does this do? I hear a snake. Snake! 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 Watch out for the deer, man! I should have shot. But I don't know where it was. I was really close to it, too.
That is not a legal game animal in this season. I'm warning you.
Then why did you mark it as a red marker on my game? It's making no sense every day. But when I turn around and see the deer, they clearly say, "Fuck you, Crimmy deer." That is not legal game. Then why did you mark it red? You stupid piece of... And I can't see what it is. Where is it? I can't even identify it. Unable to place it. Get out the shotgun before it moves away. Text move. I'm out. Wow, you are slow at reloading. Holy camole. It's in the trees. Whoa. Just kidding. The deers like to be in the trees, bro. Did you know that? Did you know deers can climb in trees? It's a proven fact. I'm not done with you. I will chase you to the ends of the earth. For I am Spider-Man. And this is my story. You just hear a special crimes victim team. You just hear all the victims being like just telling their stories from what they've played and of the game called Cabela's Deer Hunt 2005. And you just hear this rambunctious story of this person just saying, "Once I was trying to pull out the shotgun, and there was a deer, and the deer ran away from me." Dun dun, it's special crimes victim. They explain why they were there, why they played the game, and they have trauma from playing this game. FBI warning. It's a legal battle. Where the hell's that deer, bro? I'm looking, and I'm looking. I don't see anything. I can't identify where it is. Like, I'm really looking straight at my TV. Like, I'm looking. I don't see it. By the time I get close, it runs away. Like, I saw the shape of the birdie, but nope. We're playing tic-tac-toe with the deer right now, and the deer is winning. It's like, how do you lose to a deer? Good question. I could not answer that. What is this? Like, is this supposed to be like camouflage? I feel like it's Call of Duty, but if the deers were about to come out and go after you. Call of Deary. You gotta protect yourself from the deers that are about to kill you. Bang! Bang! Bang. Alright, enough of this. I want this game done. I want to get it done, but it won't let me get it done. Got a Joe. Who's Joe? I'm about to get it done. This is the grave that I've tried. Come on, man. What are we doing here? There's not much here. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. How far am I, man? How many areas do I need to go to find my deer, bro? This is agonizing.
You can't shoot that animal. That's not tagged. The warden said so. You can't shoot the deer.
Please tell me. What was that noise? Oh, it's a fox. I was like, where's the noise coming from? Oh, look there. Look. Would you look at that? Oh my god. Look, everyone. Look. It's a bridge. Sorry, I was just looking at something else. What happens if you would fall? We had to rescue you. Don't do that again. It'd be crazy. The bridge just breaks and then you fall to your death. There's a death animation. There's no death animation, by the way. There isn't. There's nothing too spectacular for that. Okay, mappity map. Where are you? I'm on the other side of what the fuck. Nope. Nobody, nope. Nobody, nope. Your shepherd's pie should be making a deer pie. Bunga. I'm gonna have to rescue you. Don't make that pie ever again. This is a first offense. We gotta acquire your pie. Acquire. I'm gonna cross the bridge again. Okay. I'm gonna map again because okay. Is it just a straight shot? Hold on. The hell? Did she look at you? I don't know if she did or not. Usually she just watches the broadcast. Sometimes she can be seen. Sometimes she'll look at you. She looked with her mind. I felt it. You sure it didn't work? Usually it would. Oh! You know what? Hold on. Hold on, Bunga, don't do anything. Oh, God damn it. I know why it didn't work, because I didn't turn this on. Okay, it's connected. Hold on. try it. Let's try if she looks at us. I know she's still watching. Marcella. Oh. Oh, she looked at you. Oh, she's looking. She's still looking at you. Usually she would go back to it. That's weird.
Still new.
It's a new command. We're returning back to it though. That's weird. I don't know why she's still looking at us. It's fine. Usually she would go back to the broadcast. She'd be looking back at it. I don't know why she's not going back. She's just gonna be looking at you the whole time then. Okay, hold on. Let's look back at the map again. The fox. This is my job now. I'll have to fix that. I don't know why it's not. It's gonna bother me. Let's see. It's so weird. I don't know why. I was hoping I could change it from here. Okay. I fixed her. She's watching us now. I'm afraid someone's going to do it again. No, I gotta fix it again. She's watching us. She's not watching you anymore. Only 3 seconds. That was more than 3 seconds. She stared at you guys for way too long. And it didn't go off. Why? What is this? Yeah, I'll do it later. All right. Oh, we found Area 3. Thank God. Let's find the last deers here and be done with this game. I'll have to figure out what the hell is happening with that redemption. Like, it'll work, but then she won't return back to the broadcast for some fucking reason. Oh my god, I don't know why. Oh my god. Here we go. More targets. Sarah Connor, we got to kill all the deer. Sarah, come on. Got to kill them all. Sarah Connor. Oh, fuck, I should have shot. Do the chopper. All the deers to the chopper. Why is the... Oh.
What a whopper. That goes on the high scores list.
Did we do it? That should have ended the game. Why, bro? What is this shit? I feel ashamed. You ain't not my hound dog. You ain't nothing but a deer dog. Deering all the time. You ain't nothing but a deer dog. Deering all the time. It can't go over bridge because it can't do that anyway. I don't even know if you're like my enemy. It stood right in front of me too, but my camera was so sensitive. It's so slow. I didn't have time to shoot it. She said she was high class. She said she was dear class, but that was just a cry. I like Arizona. I like the bridges, man. Something about Arizona. Aren't we having a little... And Bungaboo's making a shepherd pie. Like, where's my pie? I want my pie, man. Where's my pie, Bunga? Where's my pie? I want my pie, man. Not the deer I'm looking for. And not the deer that I am looking for. Holy shit, this game is dragging my soul. Oh, please. I just want to end this fucking mission, please. Dragon Hunter 2005. What is that? I actually got it.
Excellent work.
Yes!
Completed the season.
Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! Uh-huh. I'ma dance. I'ma dance. Dancing you. Dance it. Dance it. Dance it. Dance it. I wanna dance. I feel like dancing. I'm dancing. I'm a dancing. Okay.
I have my little dance. We're done. All regions are good. All of the regions of Cabela's Deer Hunt 2005 season is done. Completed. No more credits. I deserve credits. I deserve at least a story beat. Something. I don't want to go to I don't want to go to www.cabelagames.com, sir. You became a novice hunter. Holy mother of golly, sir. How many people have attended? How many people have attended? How many? Please tell me. More than like 5 people in a room. One, two, three. Only 3 people.
Privileged to present you one of our finest distinctions for hunting mastery and dedication in the field, the bronze deer. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a novice hunter in our Hall of Fame.
They're so emotionless. I did it. That's the game. Oh, I feel relieved. Wait a minute, what? Hell no! What? Huh? No! No! You can't make me! What? Huh? Why? I beat the game! You fucking piece of sh... Oh, man. Ow. Oh, golly, I'm such a lucky crimmy. Ultimate challenge. Take one buck within 20 yards, one doe from a blind, and one buck scoring at least 300 within 4 hours? Nah, I did my mode. I did it. Boss mode? Yeah, no. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing any of this. We beat something. That was my goal. I was gonna do some missions, but nada. This game's off to the... No. I did it. I made progress. I did something with my life of this game. It's going back in its case. It's gone forever. I'm sorry. I can't. This is done. It's done. We did it. We did it. We beat the game. Going back in its case. I'm gonna be shut up forever. Back on the shelf it goes. We beat the game. We did it. I'm happy. I'm happy. PS2, I love you, but god damn it, sometimes you make me upset with these kind of games. Okay, alright, we did it. Oh, I feel relieved. No missions. Fuck that. We beat it. We beat the game. We beat all the regions. I became a novice hunter. And that was the goal. We completed something in the game. Am I complete all of it? No. No. That deer can shove its own hiney out from my existence. Congrats. GG. Thank you, Mr. Bunga. I appreciate it. I'm officially moved on with my life of Cabela's. I'm happy that there was progress. Progress was made. I completed something. And then we called it good. Pie is almost done. Put it into the Sims Command and Conquer pile. No, it's completed. No, I ain't putting it in backlog. I ain't going back to this. Eagle Eye Golf and Bodie. It's marked as DONE. Done. I ain't coming back to it. Now I have all my time to focus on Valkyrie. Get that game done too. Because that was requested, by the way.
Valkyrie. So peaceful. Oh, man.
But hey, I think that's all the time I got for this, though. Obviously not this stream. Because as much as I would love to do something else, Cabela's was main thing. It's crazy that how I'm doing this now is because it was Jack 3 got done. Now, especially for today, I got done with Cabela's? Heck yeah. And one, I don't know, may have to be on backlog, but I'm gonna put in some effort into that. I don't know yet. Because I know that game's AI is really rough on me. I put in maybe like 3 parts of and one. Yeah, and one looks pretty toughy. Cabela's makes Valkyrie feel like Mario. But if you could do Cabela, I can do and one. I can do anything, right? Is that what the motto's gonna be? But if you do Cabela, you can do anything. You can finish anything. You can finish a game. But yeah, that has been me. That's been a Crimmy. Check out all these other games that were in the mix from the memory cards. Got some Gretzky and one Street Ball. Look at that guy. It's a bus. We got some The Hulk. Disney's Treasure Planet. We got The Lost Forest, Valkyrie Profile 2, Operation Spy with a folder coming out. All the threes is pretty much Motocross Mania 3? Yeah. Superman Returns, Kingdom Hearts 2, Dance Factory, Judge Dredd, Kingdom Hearts 2 again. I don't know why there's 2. Quantum of Solace is still here. Pitfall Lost Expedition. Finally, we got done with Deer Hunt. Another Valkyrie. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. On one memory card. What's the other one? These might be backups. Oh my god. There's so many career modes I had to make for Motocross Media 3. The Hulk again. Gretzky again. And Scooby-Doo Unmasked. Yeah. They got only the red, the green, and the yellow were the 3. Was there any other ones? No, there was no other color variation. I was wondering if there was more. There's not. Yeah. Green, red, and yellow. Cool beans. We got done with that. We could check that guy off the list. And that was what? 7/26/26. We'll have to write that down. Write my review for it too. I still got to write the review for Jack 3 because I got done with that a while ago. And then write a review for this one, of course. I might do and one. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. I'm trying to think of the other ones that are obviously inclined that do need it. Dying Light we can go back to. Valkyrie, of course. Yeah, I might have to put a lot more effort in Valkyrie because I like to move on from that one and randomize it because that one has been in the pile for a while. Unless if I randomize a new requested game. I don't know yet. I that's why I'm trying to hold off from randomizing the main requested games. I'm sorry, the main game so far. So, yeah, I think that's all I got for this guy. Till next time. Find me and one maybe tonight again? I don't know. If you want to see and one, maybe. We might do Dying Light. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe Dying Light. Or Valkyrie, whatever. Whatever works, right? Too many games, so little time. Like Maggie would say, so many gamers, so little time. Bringing her back, man. We gotta do iNinja. I was doing iNinja yesterday. But that's a whole entire different section I'm doing. That's a digital challenge. That's for the digital PS2 games. We're doing the actual physical games here. That's why you're able to see Cabela's. Anyways, Tablet's gonna die. I'll see you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching. And Cabela's, buck you.